Many people are spending their extra time this summer cultivating a garden. But what if you want the flower garden to look great every year? Joining us with some great tips for our perennial garden, we join Don Kinsler from the NDSU Extension Office with Cass County Horticulture. Don, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, everybody. A beautiful, bright, sunny day.
Yeah, I was going to say welcome back, and you have the best seat in the house. Absolutely beautiful behind you. Okay, it's always fun to visit with you. A lot of times I'm picking your brain on tomatoes and growing the best tomatoes. But let's talk about having that beautiful perennial garden. Why do some people decide to go perennial versus just planting those annuals every year?
Well, it is fun to have something flowering that comes back each year, and good, sturdy, well-adapted, winter-hardy perennials. And I'm coming to you right from the middle of our own perennial garden. And the perennials this time of year are just beautiful. You know, the middle of summer, August, many things are just gorgeous. And the type of perennial that I kind of want to mention, especially today, are daylilies, which are right behind me. And now daylilies have come a long way. They're no longer these small flowered weedy types that our grandmothers maybe had, but the daylilies are now beautiful. If you can see the one I'm holding, great big. It's a variety called buttered popcorn. Isn't that a great name for a daylily?
Yes,
now,
it is.
Daylilies do not grow from a bulb. They're not a true lily like the Easter lily. If you can see if I can hold it up.
We can see it pretty good there, yeah.
Camera. Do you see the way daylilies originate from a central crown, and they have a big fibrous root system? And these can be dug and divided in August and early September. But I want to mention all the different colors and named varieties of daylily. Look at this beautiful pink variety.
Oh,
Isn't
I
that
like
nice?
that. Beautiful.
Yeah. And so they come in so many different things. So these are not just the short yellow one that's in front of every dentist office in the area. Look at this beautiful red one. Isn't that nice?
I love it. Gorgeous colors.
Yeah, so you can check out the local garden centers for these varieties. Look at that one.
Are they all as hardy as the just yellow daylily I'm used to seeing everywhere? Because those must be pretty hardy.
Yes. Daylily are a wonderful, and look at this purple one.
Oh, love that.
Daylilies, all of them are well adapted and very, very hardy. So if you, and once you've got them, you know, they'll increase in clump size. And like I say, this time of year, you can divide these and make more of them. And now daylilies, even though each individual flower only lasts one day, there are many blossoms on each spike. So you get really a good month of bloom, and some of them even rebloom. And of course, these are fairly tall also. They vary in height. So do consider the new named varieties of daylily. They're beautiful. Another perennial, they're not blooming now because they bloom in June, but one that we take care of now are iris. Now, iris grow from kind of what's called a rhizome, and they're typically divided in August here. And so to divide, I already did the division. You can see where I cut, but once you dig and divide in August here or early September, then I can cut off the top of the leaves and plant it so that that rhizome is right at about soil level with the roots down below, not planted too deeply. I also wanted to mention that, you know, some things we dig and divide if we have established perennials. All summer long is a good time to plant new perennials also. Isn't this pretty? This is a perennial phlox, Phlox, phlox. And phlox are a good hardy, and these are available at garden centers. So phlox, a very beautiful perennial. So these can be planted really all summer long. Now, if you have any questions as to, you know, what things do I dig and divide at what time of year? For example, you know, tulips and tulip bulbs that we plant in the fall. You know, some things get divided in spring and some things in the fall. A good way to remember that is if a perennial flower blooms early, such as bleeding heart, bloom in May, those are dug and divided in September. Also peonies bloom in early summer, so you divide in fall. Things that bloom in fall or late summer, such as daylilies, lilies, mums, those get divided in spring. You choose the season opposite the bloom time to dig and divide an established perennial.
Okay, that makes sense. And it's probably easier. Some people think the expense and the time of having to do the splitting and everything is overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be.
No, exactly. And there are certain perennials that form a kind of a backbone of any good perennial garden. We mentioned daylilies, and there are literally thousands of varieties of beautiful daylilies. Daylilies, we mentioned iris. Peonies are very long-lived. The phlox that I showed you, bleeding heart to bloom in early spring, they can stay in place decades. And so those are the types of flowers, perennial flowers, that can form a background. Also, if I could swing the camera around, which I won't, I don't want to lose connectivity, but if I could swing the camera around, you could see that we've also planted annual flowers among the perennials. Annual flowers tend to bloom starting in early summer all the way through fall. And so annual flowers make a good companion with perennials. Most perennials have a certain bloom time. Some bloom early, such as peonies and iris. Others, like daylilies, bloom in middle of summer on. And so perennial gardens are ever changing with something blooming at different times. And if we include annual flowers, which bloom throughout summer, that bridges the gap and provides a nice continuation of color.
Well, you have a beautiful garden there. Don, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks very much. Always great to be here. Have a great gardening day.
Coming up next on North Dakota Today, the Fargo Public Library is hosting a virtual escape room. Find out how that's going to work next.